Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, guys?
All right, so what's going on, bro?
All right, so you want to do this about Pacific Rim Uprising? We could,
Yeah.
I guess, do that first. Okay. So this is going to be spoilers for Pacific Rim Uprising. I actually just got home. Well, not just got home. I got home a little while ago from seeing the movie. So if you don't want to know anything about this movie, stop watching now because we're going to get into some spoilers. So, okay. I really liked it. I am surprised that I liked it as much as I do.
Ooh.
I can say off the bat, yes, I do recommend it. It's different from the first Pacific Rim.
Okay.
The tone, the style, the story. Well, the story is not too different, but I definitely enjoyed it. And I do have a feeling that this is going to follow exactly the way the first Pacific Rim did at the box office. I think it's
Really?
Yes, I don't think it's going to do very well here. However, I think it's going to do fantastic in China and overseas. I honestly do.
That will signify a sequel.
Yes, and I can tell you right now, they definitely have plans for one. At least right now, But what this movie has to do well first. So let me start off with what I didn't like because there's a lot less of that.
Yeah.
Than what I did like. Now, there's one thing that's standing out to me that I really have to think about a bit more, but as far as I stand right now, I think this is a bit of a problem, and I really don't understand why they would say this in this movie. So we got one of the main things that they introduced in this movie was the idea of you have to know the motive of your enemy to know if you've really defeated them.
Okay.
So basically, it's like if you don't know why your enemy did something, you don't know if you really defeated them, even if you think you did. Because it could come back later on that you thought you beat them, but they were doing something else the whole time. And,
okay.
If you didn't know that, they could defeat you later on.
Okay.
So what they tried to do was they said, what if we were looking at this the wrong way the whole time? What if the kaiju weren't sent for us specifically? Because they were saying it doesn't make sense that these aliens would, or these other dimensional beings would send the kaiju to attack us to take over the planet. Like it's like there has to be some sort of bigger goal because they could be sending kaiju for hundreds of thousands of years before they even defeat us, or not that long, but like hundreds of years before they even defeat us, giving us the chance to do something to stop them, i.e. build Jaegers, build weapons, stuff like that. So what they wind up figuring out, or what they figure out is the kaiju have a motive. They sent the kaiju here to do something, not just to attack us, but apparently kaiju blood reacts very violently when exposed to certain rare earth metals, like the metals that make up the inner portions of the earth. So if they got enough kaiju blood into the earth, it would destroy the Pacific Rim. And the violent reaction of that would turn the planet into the type of planet that they need. It would create the type of atmosphere that they need, because when the kaiju blood reacts with the rare earth metals, it causes a huge volcanic eruption.
Right.
And when a volcanic eruption is released, there are toxic fumes and whatnot. So the amount that would be released would basically make the earth uninhabitable for human life and life as we know it.
Well, let me ask you a question. If that's the case, it's like an alien thing that if they're fighting it near any of that, and then they start slicing it up and the blood starts splattered everywhere, they're kind of helping it, right?
Well, it has to be, like, it can't just get on the ground. It has to be on these rare earth metals, like okay. A lot of it. It can't just be one kaiju wouldn't be enough.
Okay.
They basically say that it would have to be a huge amount of this kaiju blood.
Okay.
So in this movie, they said that the kaiju in this one were heading towards Mount Fuji, which is an active volcano in the movie. And of course, Mount Fuji is the real, volcano. So, and they said if the certain kaiju that they sent get into Mount Fuji, that would be enough to cause this reaction.
Okay.
And what they see, I was okay with that. I was like, all right, fine, that's fine. But then they said, well, every kaiju was attempting to do this. And I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because if they come up from the breach, like, why did that one attack San Francisco?
Right.
Like, that isn't that going in the opposite direction?
You would think.
So I was really kind of confused. I was like, wouldn't they come out of the breach and then head for Mount Fuji or something like that? They made it sound like they were all trying to get to Mount Fuji.
Right.
And I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, how do you explain that they attacked other places that aren't really on the way to Mount Fuji? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I thought it would have been better if they were just like, there are points that they can get to, but these kaiju are going after Mount Fuji.
Okay.
So that was my biggest issue. It was like, I don't think that's what they were doing. But, I don't know.
That was one gripe. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the other ones?
The other ones were really, it was just, honestly, I can't even think. Like, there was one really weird scene that made me kind of uncomfortable. And it made me, I felt the whole theater get uncomfortable when they did this. I'm not going to explain it right now because it would take way too long. But let's just say that one of the characters got really uncomfortably affectionate with a piece of a kaiju. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that yeah. I could have done without seeing that. Honestly. It wasn't like, it's not like you were thinking, it's not like probably what you're thinking. It's just, you know how you drift, Jaeger pilots drift? They put the helmets on and they're inside each other's heads, and let's just say one of the characters does this with a piece of a kaiju, and it started getting really weird. Like, really strange.
Oh.
So, yeah, that it was played off for comedy, but it was one of those moments that was like, you probably should have cut that.
Right.
You probably should have cut that from the movie.
Whatever. All right. Now, so what else? Anything else bad?
Bad? No, I can't really think of anything.
Bad bothering you? Didn't work out for the movie? Nothing, right? Nothing else?
Can't really think of anything. Like, I'm not. This movie's not going to win any awards, but I definitely think it's a good. I liked it.
It wasn't bad. It was good.
I wouldn't say it was bad. No, I mean, there was a lot of.
Was it better than the first one?
I wouldn't say it was better than the first one, but I will say I enjoyed it as much as the first one.
Okay, that's fair. What was the best thing about it?
In fact, I think it does some things better than the first one.
What was the best thing about it?
The best thing about it was the Jaeger versus kaiju fights. I can tell you this: if you're going into this movie just for that, you will be more than satisfied.
Wow!
Because they did a lot of fighting in this movie. It was a. If anyone says that there wasn't enough, they're lying. I can't. I apologize if that's your opinion, but I think you're wrong. It's and nobody. I haven't seen anybody say that there's too little. Every review I've seen has said it's great. And the nice thing about it is it takes place during the day, so you see everything that happens.
That's good.
And I will say this. At first, I really didn't like the CGI in the trailers. It looks much better in this movie. I have to give it to them. They did a great job.
Wow.
The Jaegers, the kaiju, it was great. You get to finally see two Jaegers fight each other, which I think was a great scene. The couple of scenes that they did it. There were two things about this movie that I really, really liked. And it's going to sound kind of weird, but the first thing is, of course, Stacker Pentecost, who was Idris Elba in the first Pacific Rim.
Okay.
You feel his presence in this movie.
Really?
He's dead. You don't see his character other than for a couple of newspaper clippings and a hologram and stuff.
How did
you
he die?
feel him there. He sacrificed himself in the first one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
You feel him in this movie, and
Okay.
it's almost like he's in the room without being in the room. You know,
Okay.
whenever they did something important. So that was cool. The big thing that I really liked about this movie is that they did not go the easy way with this plot when they very easily could have. So what I mean by that specifically is it wasn't just, oh, the aliens opened up another breach and now they're coming through. They didn't do that really at all. They tried to open up another breach, but the way they went about it was really, in my opinion, a really creative way to go about it. Some of the criticisms I've heard about this movie are that the kaiju don't show up until the end of the movie.
Okay.
And before that, it's the Jaegers, and it's you get to see Jaeger kaiju hybrids in this movie, which
Wow.
was awesome, by the way.
Okay.
But my counter to that complaint is it made sense to the plot, because throughout this whole movie, you're told that the precursors are that's the name of the aliens. The precursors are trying to get back to our side,
Okay.
and they can't. So they have another way of doing it. And it involves hijacking the Jaegers and making them do something to open up another breach. I thought that was really creative, because it would have been very easy for them to just be like, 10 years later, they opened up another breach and now kaiju are coming through again. They didn't do that.
Okay.
They went with this other plan that has some twists, but nothing you couldn't call. But I still thought it was a really creative way of going about it, and I'm happy that they did it the way they did.
Cool. Now I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah. There's not really an after credits scene. There's it's the beginning credits scene, which I thought was kind of funny. And that beginning credits scene, it ties it's setting up another movie.
Okay.
So I would recommend it. If you liked the first Pacific Rim, I would say go see this. It's not the same tone,
right?
But it's a good movie. I think it's good. It's not great.
How much do you think it's going to make?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to do too well over here.
The budget was lower. I mean, the first budget was 190, then this one was 150, right? So not that much of a difference, but then again, maybe they're not. I don't know if they're really spending a lot of money with the actors, are they?
Well, I don't know. I have to say, John Boyega did really well in this.
Really?
I actually think he did better in this than he did in The Last Jedi, to be honest with you.
Wow. That's something.
So, I mean, I got to say, I don't know what I would rate it. I think I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10, around there.
Okay, that's not bad. I mean,
yeah. I mean, apart from those few things that I didn't like, I mean, really, it was good. I wish Charlie Hunnam would have come back. I really do. Now, I heard rumors that apparently his character is supposedly dead.
Right.
But I don't know that for sure.
Right.
Because I had read before the movie that there's apparently some sort of newspaper clipping that you can see in the movie that says he died.
Okay.
I didn't see it in the movie. I may have missed it, but I don't know. I honestly hope his character is still alive, because if they do a third one, I would really love for him to come back and pilot another Jaeger or something. Which, that's another thing I can say. The Jaegers felt like the movie takes place 10 years after the first one. You can feel the Jaegers have advanced a lot.
Wow.
So it was a cool idea. Some of the things that they put in there were pretty interesting. There's especially something that happens with the kaiju that you've seen it in the trailer, where that they can combine.
Oh.
The mega kaiju that they fight.
Oh.
I don't know who designed it, but they did a fantastic job. I mean, it's
I want
to
see this movie.
It's one of the best kaiju I've seen, design wise. I mean, it's menacing. It looks cool. It's
right.
like really, really strong. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's not going to change anybody's reality of filmmaking or anything, but
Right.
like,
All right.
I like
Listen,
it.
we got a good movie. That's great.
Yeah.
Um,
I did want to say one thing. I saw a lot of people saying that this is to Pacific Rim what Independence Day Resurgence was to Independence Day. I highly disagree with that.
oh, good. All right.
Across the board. I don't know what movie these people saw. Independence Day Resurgence is almost unwatchable.
Right. I agree with that.
This was
I mean,
much better than that.
I was shaking my head when I watched this. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
The first, yeah. Why'd you bother, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which they probably shouldn't make a 3 because it'd be embarrassing, but whatever. All right. Any other news we got besides that?
Yes, and I'm glad we did this cast at this time because we can officially say this. We are 1 year away from Godzilla 2. 1 year. It's coming. It's almost here.
I can't freaking wait for that. That's going to be some friggin' movie, man. That's going to be my favorite. Now, was there anything about Star Wars going on? Because I heard that Rian Johnson's beginning work on his movie, but is there any story? Does he have anything written? What is this?
Yeah, I think he does. I think they have stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And we have nothing about episode 9 yet.
I haven't heard too much about it. I don't think we're going to hear anything about it until it starts filming, because I believe it starts filming in October or something like that. But
I heard that Frank Oz came out, but not about Star Wars, but at Disney about the Muppets. Like, he's not happy, saying that they don't get the Muppets. They don't know how to handle the Muppets. They don't know how to do with their property that they purchased. You know, he works on the Muppets, you know. So it's like he's not happy with them in that aspect. But the way they phrased the article, when you click on it, you think he's talking about Star Wars because they said rebellion and different things. And I'm like, I thought right away he's talking about Star Wars, but he's talking about the Muppets. He's not happy with the way Disney is handling the Muppets property. So there you go. Was there anything else that you know of?
There was that thing with Chris Evans going around.
Yeah, what is that about?
Apparently, he's done after Avengers 4. Which, I guess now we know what's going to happen to him.
Probably going to die. Or maybe
either that or somebody was going to get sent back in time or something.
Yeah, or lose the super soldier serum or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess there really is going to be, like, another Captain America. Like, either Bucky or you know, who knows?
They may do a storyline where the Red Skull comes back, and maybe he has to come back. I don't know, the Captain America, just, you know, because I kind of feel that we lost out on that movie. That would have been what the Captain America movie was supposed to be about. It's him versus the Red Skull, and they never really capitalized on him being his major foe. You know, like, how could it be his major foe? We never counted him really.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. We know he didn't die.
He went to another planet.
Yeah, it transported him somewhere.
For him to come back with Nazi aliens, because that's what he was, Nazi, and being the leader, that would be sick. You know, that could set up another Avengers arc also, where the Avengers are looking for Steve Rogers, maybe, if he lives. I have a feeling they're all going to die, but then they're going to come back with the Infinity Gauntlet, or they're going to be scattered through time, or something's happening. I don't know what.
It's possible.
But I think they're going to want it living in the fourth one. We just found out what happened with Black Widow in the comics, because I don't remember hearing me talk about it, but Hydra Cap broke her neck in Secret Empire, and when Cubics, the cosmic cube that became like a humanoid or a kid or whatever, she never restored anybody that died in Secret Empire, and Hydra Cap still exists in prison. But it turns out that they're building up the Red Room, which is the organization that had created the Black Widow and other Widow agents, I guess. And their thing in the comic is that she did die flat out, but they got, I guess, a mutant or something that takes her essence or soul and her memories and implants it in a clone body. And they're doing this. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm shaking my head because I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And with every agent, they kind of like edit out things that they don't want them to remember. But she's not even an agent with them anymore. But everything is intact. She has all her memories. She has a new body that's cloned from her other body. And she's not going to degrade. Like, these cloning things are not like Miles Warren from Spider-Man. I mean, these people know how to clone. So she just has a clone body, and she's seeing that this organization is trying to become like the next Hydra. Because now Hydra, I guess, is defunct in the Marvel Universe, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is defunct, and all these different things are defunct. So now they need a new organization that's going to rise up, that's going to be like an evil organization. So that's what they're building on in the comics behind the scenes. The Red Room, I guess, is the organization.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm glad that Black Widow is alive. It's kind of weird how they explained it, and I know as time goes on with technology, cloning in the real world is going to be a much sought out subject, and they're probably going to do tons of that stuff in the comics, but we had bad impressions when the Spider-Man stuff. But anyway, all right, so she's back alive. Now, we also got the Hulk back alive in the Avengers thing. You know, that was happening. We know that. Hey, Scott! What's up, Scott?
Nothing, I just got home.
Yeah, so he saw Pacific Rim. He liked it a lot.
Okay. I see that starts tomorrow. So does Uninsane. So
Unsane, right? Yeah. That is a horror movie I want to see, too.
So depending on which one shows up at my Eden 6, I'm going to go see whichever one tomorrow.
Chris, what did you think of like Black Panther making $1.2 billion, $1.2 billion? How high do you think it's going to go now?
I don't know if it's going to stop, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I honestly, at this point,
this is the next Titanic type style?
It could be.
Till Avengers comes out.
Yeah, exactly. I think it might be a weird situation where it's like, it's going, and then Infinity War comes out, and that's what stops it.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that would be crazy, but, you know.
Which would make new guidelines then, because they would say, we just killed our own stuff, and we got to space out the Marvel movies a lot more than that. So, which I think, if you think about it, I think Disney's got it wrong, where they're going to put out Solo and Incredibles and all that stuff together so close to each other.
Yeah.
Solo's going to get killed by friggin' Avengers Infinity War, which is their own product. You should have delayed that till December, but whatever.
Yeah, that makes no sense. You assume that all the I hate saying this, but you figure they target all the Star Wars movies for the November, December.
Well, December always, right? Yeah, but
yeah.
But I mean, they wanted to keep with May, but
Christmas is coming up. Boom, we got the Star Wars movies.
I mean, I think their own company's going to hurt their own movies.
Yeah.
The sales of Incredibles 2, the sales of Solo. I mean, the only thing that's going to stand intact is Avengers Infinity War. I honestly think that. I think, if you think Black Panther's number one for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, how long do you think Avengers is going to be number one for? For a while.
And by doing this, I'm starting to fear if we're going to have another bubble burst with the superhero genre.
Also, too, Deadpool is their character, but they're sold it to different companies. So even at some point, they don't want their characters to fail either, even though it's from 20th Century Fox. I mean, this is going to cause a new style with movies now, with guidelines, because they're going to hurt themselves, and then they're going to blame themselves, because they should. I think, anyway. I think there's going to be casualties.
I hate to be a negative person, to be the Devil's Apprentice, but with all the flooding of the superhero movies and with being on TV, this bubble is going to pop. One of these is going to pop in the next couple of years, and we're going to be hurt. And so's the comic book companies.
See, my thing is, too, it would have been better if it came out when it was supposed to come out eventually. Because it really did cause a problem for other movies. And David Tennant's movie was almost destroyed because of that. And that's supposed to be a good movie. And they had to shuffle down. I mean, companies are bailing out. Right, Chris? They're delaying. They're going crazy because of what happened with Avengers. I don't know, man. I just think let me ask you a question, Chris. Where the hell does Ant-Man and the Wasp fall in with Infinity War? Because I mean, if Infinity War is going to happen, and then I guess Avengers 4 is going to be directly connected to that right after, right? Technically, Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to take place after Avengers 4, or what the hell?
I don't think it takes place after 4. I honestly, I'm sure they've said where it takes place. I just haven't kept up with it. I saw something today that said that Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel are integral to talking about what happens between Avengers 3 and 4.
But do they go off-world with Thanos, where the Earth's not getting destroyed, or?
Well, let me just say this, and I keep saying this because I honestly think it's true. I don't think all of them are going to die in this movie. I think everybody is thinking that, but I think that the first of all, if you kill them all off, Thanos wins.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's it. That's game. So you can't kill them all off, and I think some are going to die, but I honestly think that if you have Thanos come in and he kills everybody, that's going to cause a problem with a lot of the fans. They're going to be like, well, fuck this movie. All my characters are dead,
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be pissed. So
Even
some of them,
somebody come out later and go, I used this gemstone to bring you all or half of you all.
well, someone has, at least I'm going to say a couple of them are going to survive.
Yeah.
As far as where Ant-Man and the Wasp takes place, I really don't know. I know it. We obviously know it takes place after Civil War, so I'm assuming that it's going to take place leading up to Avengers 3. That's where I'm thinking.
Well, all you really need is if Doctor Strange, before he gets captured, gives the time gem to Tony Stark, then that would probably tie in with that vision that he had that they're all dead and he's the only one alive.
There was a story that came out which could be a potential spoiler. I don't know. So I guess if you don't want to hear it.
Let's just talk about it.
Apparently in that scene where it shows them fighting Thanos on another planet, the rumor is that Spider-Man gets killed. And then Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to reverse time. And because he does that and Stark knows what happens, that's why he gives him the Iron Spider suit. That's the rumor, apparently.
So in other words, he has a regular suit, and he dies, and that's why he gives him one. Okay.
That's just a rumor.
And then Doctor Strange basically says we lost already, and he goes to Tony Stark, and we got to beat him. Is that maybe what's going to happen, or no?
Somewhat like that, yeah.
So maybe it starts off with them fighting him, and then they lose, and then he reverses time?
Something like that. Because they said, you notice in one of the I don't know if it was a trail we got to see, you see Peter Parker saying, I'm sorry, to Tony Stark. And then they said if you compare that to the first shot of the trailer we saw with Tony Stark like rocking back and forth, they're like, Peter's probably dead. Like Thanos probably killed him. And this is Stark feeling the remorse for it. And then Doctor Strange says there's a way we can fix this. And he does the thing with the time stone.
Mm-hmm.
And to prepare Peter for the fight, Stark says, take the suit.
But he goes back, and so in other words, only he remembers Tony Stark and Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I'm assuming
he goes
so,
with them.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing about that. If that's true, that introduces an interesting thing for later on, because what are the repercussions of Doctor Strange doing that?
He's going to lose the title of Sorcerer Supreme. He's not allowed to do that.
Something's going to happen. I think
he already messed with time about Dormammu.
Well,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because they made that a point. That's like, if you screw with time, bad things
He's
happen.
going to lose his powers, or they're going to take it, strip him of his thing, and that's where he gets captured.
And I think something's going to happen with. No, I don't think it's going to happen in this movie. I don't think those repercussions are going to be in this movie. I think it's going to be for something later on. And personally, I think it's going to have something to do with Spider-Man. I think that because he was saved, something's going to be like, you're supposed to be dead.
Well, I mean, you mean like a Final Destination type of thing?
Not necessarily like that, but I think that there could be like a ramification for that. Like Peter was dead, and then Doctor Strange reverses time, and now he's alive again.
See, I don't like that because that's not
fucks
part
something
of,
up.
Yeah, I don't like that. Unless they could say, well, he shouldn't have had this anyway because he's messing up time by him and having the Infinity Gauntlet, and he wasn't supposed to die anyway. It wasn't supposed to be any of this, but I don't know. All right. So only Tony Stark. But what's this thing about? How does this tie in with 4? Because isn't 4 we see the classic Captain America uniform? We see the reactor inside him, like whatever. Like his time altered totally. Like did Doctor Strange cause a mess?
Well, maybe. I mean, that could be. Like think about that for a second. Like, what if the time gem is the one stone that Thanos doesn't get, and they're like going through time to try and get away from him?
So in other words, they're constantly reverting time back. So it's like a.
So like
I'm trying to.
Some of them.
It's like a Tom Cruise type of movie where they keep reliving stuff.
So it's like this. It's like some of them die, and this is just me speculating. I'm just throwing this out there. Let's say some of them die in 3 in Infinity War, but Doctor Strange is not one of the ones who dies, or maybe he is, and someone else has the time stone. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say hypothetically, Doctor Strange is not one of the ones that dies. And a lot of people are dying, and they're like, listen, we can't beat him now, but let's go back in time and try to prevent all of this from happening. And then 4 is literally them just trying to escape Thanos by going back in time and, doing all this stuff with the past versions of Captain America and Iron Man and like that.
See, here's the thing with the gems, right? They could use the time gem to alter time. Mm-hmm. But there's other gems, like the soul gem, that they could contain the spirit so it doesn't go, and then, or they could do something with a reality gem where they could change things.
Contain the spirit, like they did in Wakanda. But, yeah.
So they could technically do a whole bunch of things to save them with the gems.
Yes.
What if Doctor Strange is the one? This is like none of those wild things. What if Doctor Strange is one of the ones that dies? So Stark uses the time gem to go back to try to prevent that.
That could happen. Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me.
All the muck.
So in other words, here's the thing. He takes the Eye Agamotto from Doctor Strange, goes back in time, and then Doctor Strange is like, why are there 2 Eye Agamottos? And then there's 2 time gems then, which would totally screw things up. And that would fracture the Marvel Universe into other multiverses, maybe.
Well, that's what I honestly think that Scott's right. I really think that Stark is gonna because that vision he had is gonna most of it is probably gonna come true.
Yeah.
And he's gonna feel so like, I could have stopped this. Hey, maybe I can. And then he's just gonna go back. I honestly think that Avengers 3 and 4. So they're going to cause so much damage to the reality of the universe that's what the next few phases are going to be about. It's like literally the repercussions of what happened.
Like Mephisto coming in there and
I don't think
Silver
Mephisto's
Surfer and
coming
Galactus and the Celestials and all that.
Galactus. That's what I honestly think that Galactus is that, like, they're going to say that he's some sort of extra universal being that takes notice of the Marvel Universe because of all the craziness that happened. And he's like, I think I should go over there.
And eat that.
Going on Joe's little idea about being 2, that way they could bring in the Fantastic Four and the X-Men Fantastic Four and X-Men from the other genres.
Because two objects can't occupy the same space or the same time, and 2 gems would really go crazy with the multiverse.
So that way they can introduce the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and in turn, Galactus.
But you don't think they're going to do anything where they're going to alter the Marvel timeline because of it?
I wouldn't put that off the table.
No.
What would they erase?
If somebody doesn't die or doesn't die at the time that they're supposed to be.
What would they erase?
Well, I mean, I would hope that they would erase Iron Man 3, but that's just me. But
and the last Fantastic Four movie.
But for real though, I think that I think they're going to cause some damage. Like I think this whole event, Avengers Infinity War and whatever Avengers 4 is, it's gonna screw something up. Like in storyline wise. I'm not talking about like the movie suck.
It's going to cause like the cosmic entities or something to see Earth as, and it's going to lead to maybe the Skrull Kree or invasion or something, or they're going to have to do a storyline like Galactic Storm or something where they're going fending off the Earth from an alien invade or something.
Well,
just gonna...
well, remember what they said. They said that having the one Infinity Stone on Earth being the Tesseract, which we know it's not the only one now, but at the time, that's all we knew. They said that Thor said alone, signals to the rest of the universe that the Earth is ready for a higher form of war, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you have the Avengers fighting Thanos, who, if he gets all the gems or a couple of them or whatever, they're obviously going to beat him. So what is that going to say to the rest of the universe?
Right.
These people from Earth beat Thanos.
And the thing is, how are they going to beat him? Because here's the thing. Somehow they have to get the glove off him. Which, wasn't it like between Silver Surfer and Adam Warlock got the glove from the Infinity Gauntlet? Like somehow, I think didn't Silver Surfer fly towards him to try to rip it off his arm or something?
Well, I mean, that's gone now.
No, I know.
No, that's not what...
I know, but here's the thing. The moment they get the glove off him, then they shrink him down to ant size and he's done.
That's why I don't think they're going to get the whole thing off of him.
But they're going to use Ant-Man as a way to defeat him, probably, to shrink him down to maybe to the Microverse, because that's another universe entirely. Just, maybe he'll continue to shrink.
Well, they had the Micronauts still. They could have, but
that's a different thing. Yeah,
I know. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I do think though that's how they're going to defeat him somehow with the shrinking thing.
I don't think that would be very fitting for him. I think
he's going to die flat out.
I think a villain like this needs to have a grander exit if they're going to kill him.
I don't think he's going to die, though.
I mean, he might not, but if he does, it's probably going to be something crazy. Like,
isn't Hela in this movie though, as the Mistress
I don't
Death?
think so.
Like, because instead of using the God of Death, like the actual Death entity.
I don't think that they're sticking with that whole thing about Thanos trying to impress Death.
Really?
It sounds more like he's got a new motive about balancing the universe or something.
I don't like that crap. That's like just the Force and balance and. I mean, I don't know what they're getting this shit from because it wasn't.
Well, it could be interesting if they do it right. Because you notice in that trailer, he's like, "When I'm done, half of humanity will still exist."
Right.
So he's not. He's looking to kill a lot of beings, but he's not trying to kill everybody for some reason.
And he's got this kid. He's holding his hand to the kid. Like
that's Gamora.
That's Gamora. That's what that was.
Oh, okay. Apparently, that's a flashback, and that's when he finds Gamora.
Oh, okay.
That is Gamora having a flashback.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's probably going to be reluctant to hurt her, right? Or no?
Well.
I mean, that was his favorite, right? Gamora was
but this guy seems like he's pretty...
I mean, in the comics, he killed his own kids, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
he didn't even care.
I don't think he's going to have any problem.
And wives or whatever. It's just, So. This is going to be some freaking movie. I can't wait. Can't freaking wait for this shit, man. Oh man. All right, that's it. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye for now.